there have been two huge studies. One was the Danish study, and there was tremendous excitement around this study. We couldn't wait to see it published. We could find out how well these masks work. Suddenly, everyone starts passing on the publication. JAMA.
I can see where this is going.
It's finally published in the Annals of Internal Medicine, right? And it's published, and it shows about a 15 to 20% efficacy of mask wearing, which was not zero, but not 80 and not 100%. It's 15 to 20%. Then there was a huge study that came out of Bangladesh that was highly criticized, but not a bad study. Showed again, 15 to 20% in that range, maybe a little less. And that's it. That seems what masks do. People behave as though they're 100%. And wearing them outdoors makes zero sense, like none, zero. But indoors, it's like, okay, we want to do something. We want to, but to treat people like they're some sort of wielding a murderous weapon by not wearing the mask, again, we need to educate people about the reality of masks. You're better off just distancing. That's significantly better.
Here in LA, when I go to the supermarket, they still want you to put the mask on, obviously. No. To me, I'm looking at people, it doesn't seem as if anyone is even thinking anymore.
No.
They're all walking around, everyone has this sort of glossed over look. They're wearing it in the parking lot. Yep. And it's like, we don't even talk, why isn't Garcetti giving a speech every now and again? We're thinking about maybe taking the mask off. Like the ship has sailed, it's like it's over.
I know, the way to manage, another way to manage vaccine hesitancy is with rewards. Hey, everybody get vaccinated. If I can get to 80%, I'm gonna get rid of these mandates. We're gonna open up the schools. The kids, this is the kids. I did a, do you understand there's several pediatric psychiatric associations and hospital associations have declared a national mental health emergency on kids. And somebody was asking me, I was lecturing a teachers group, and they're like, what can you do to help kids? I said, look, what they need is contact, they need you in your presence, they need you to be on their level, listening, and reflect, this thing called reflective functioning, where you use your face to reflect the emotions that you see in the children. It's extremely, it's what we call building affect regulation. It gets into the brain in a way that words do not. And I was thinking about what I normally recommend for this, and one of the teachers goes, but the masks. And I thought, oh my God. I'm at a loss for words.
What do you think we're doing, really, to the kids at that age? When I think of my
all
nieces
we know
and
is the numbers.
nephews.
You just look at the numbers: suicide, depression, substance use. It's going crazy. Look, what if you're 18, you're 8 years old, or 12 years old, or 14-year-old, and you start every time you turn on the TV or get on the internet, you see your parents are in danger, your family's going to be destroyed. You have life. Of course, that late adolescence, late childhood, early adolescence, a very grandiose phase where you believe everything's going to happen to you. That's normal. The way to destroy their psyche is with what we've been doing.
So all right, so backing up a little bit to Fauci for a second. So I've been covering this a lot, and I always try to say I'm not trying to impugn his motives, but I am starting to. I honestly am. To me, he has bungled this to the point of almost ridiculousness. Like, literally at the height of it, telling us all to wear masks, but then emailing his friends who were going on vacation to say the masks you buy at stores don't work, and actually then the video came out later, him telling someone else on PBS years ago that masks actually make you touch your face more, but then he's telling people to double mask. Like, there's been such a series of crazy things that it leaves someone like me that's fairly well educated. I talk to people like you, and I watch him and I think, the ship has sailed with this guy.
Public health definitely, whatever public health official has just bungled this entirely. Again, it was astonishing to me. I don't know why they did what they did. It doesn't make any sense. They defied everything we've learned about changing behavior in a pandemic. And I don't know why they did. I don't get it. But there was something you were saying, so here's the deal with the mask thing, right? So influenza. Well, you know the whole story about where the lockdowns came from a high school student.
Right. It was something that was never studied, right? It was like a sort of a joke.
Although I saw her father online a little while ago doubling down that she saved millions of lives. It was the right thing to do. So he who published the paper that said local lockdowns for influenza is a good idea. Maybe. National lockdowns for a respiratory virus, We have no idea. Totally different transmission rate.
You mean that people in rural Montana maybe should have a different reaction than people living in Midtown Manhattan?
What? I don't understand what you're talking about.
You
Is there
are
a
a
difference
doctor.
between those two populations? but so the mask with influenza, we do recommend you don't wear it because the hand is the primary transmission unit. And so getting hands away from the face is our primary goal. So he was applying the principles of influenza, thinking this was going to be like influenza. I would defend him on that. What I don't defend is the theater around mask wearing. What is the efficacy of masks? Do you ever hear anybody talking about that?
No, we don't anymore.
Okay, and do you have any studies about this, do you think? Okay, there have been two huge studies. One was the Danish study, and there was tremendous excitement around this study. We couldn't wait to see it published. We could find out how well these masks work. Suddenly, everyone starts passing on the publication. JAMA.
I can see where this is going.
It's finally published in the Annals of Internal Medicine, right? And it's published, and it shows about a 15 to 20% efficacy of mask wearing, which was not zero, but not 80 and not 100%. It's 15 to 20%. Then there was a huge study that came out of Bangladesh that was highly criticized, but not a bad study. Showed again, 15 to 20% in that range, maybe a little less. And that's it. That seems what masks do. People behave as though they're 100%. And wearing them outdoors makes zero sense, like none, zero. But indoors, it's like, okay, we want to do something. We want to, but to treat people like they're some sort of wielding a murderous weapon by not wearing the mask, again, we need to educate people about the reality of masks. You're better off just distancing. That's significantly better. So, anyway, it's just a signal.
So when you mention what happened at the Louvre, and okay, so you have to have a test, or you can be tested right there, or they check your antibodies, something like that. Like that all sort of intellectually does make sense to me. But where I'm at this point is,
I tell you, emotionally, it's a lot more pleasant. Because they literally like, what do you want? What do you want to do?
But I would give you something even more emotionally pleasant to me, which would be if you've been vaccinated, go in, and if you want to wear a mask, wear a mask.
That's kind of the way it is in New York. That's in New York.
I know, and it's just fine in New York.
Yeah.
I mean, I was shocked when I was in New York a couple weeks ago.
People were just scan. They put a wristband on you.
They were barely doing it. They were barely doing it.
When I went there, it was right when it had started, and they were doing it. And they're like, "No, take your mask off, get out. We'll make the staff wear it, but you get out."
But how worried are you about the conditioning of it? Whether you send people to go check your antibodies, or let me look at this.
It's what Adam Carolla calls crate training.
Yes.
We've all been crate trained.
Yes, that is what I am far more concerned about. The mind virus more than the COVID virus.
I worry about it. I've always been extreme, moderate, middle, everything, and I think I was a little more liberal, but the liberal kind of left me somehow.
I know the feeling.
Yeah, and it makes me seem more right. I am not, trust me. I mean, I spent decades fighting the right because they were the ones not letting me talk about HPV vaccines and morning after contraception. I mean, I was really in conflict with the, now seems like it's coming from the other side, which is
don't worry, my audience gets it.
It's very weird. It's very weird.
Yeah.
But shit, I lost my train of thought.
Well, the mind virus, basically, and how this is.
So Adam was just saying how we've all been crate trained, and that it's complete now. The crate training is complete, and they don't have to worry about it. I'm generally mystified. I know what I was going to say. I'm generally mystified by people that want orders from without, and the people that want to issue those orders. That's mysterious to me. I don't understand why Gavin Newsom would feel okay about this. I talked to a governor, a friend of mine in another state, who called me and said they want me to put a mask on. That's not my job. I don't tell people, that's not government. That's not what I should be doing. He was eventually persuaded to do it because the pressure got so high. I don't, now I lost my train of thought again. This is what COVID did to me.
Did COVID?
Oh, yeah. It gave me some weird stuff. This is I have more train of thought trouble than aging alone used to give me. Now
Interesting.
It's like it interferes with my
Interesting. Well, we're talking about the crate training aspect of it, and that basically everyone is just bowing to demands of people who oddly want to demand things of them. So this was the other thing I was going to say, which is one thing that I have changed on, even though I've stayed in the middle and I'm still same ideas I've always had, I never was aware of how much I valued freedom and how much it needed to be protected. I'd heard about that. I'd laughed about that when military people talked about it. I literally made fun of it. Yeah.
And all of a sudden, that has become a vivid reality to me. That freedom is something to be cherished and to be defended, and we better pay attention to that. And the masking is the opposite of that. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't mask. I'm saying you should not be taken by the mind virus if you do mask. You should be doing it because you've decided to make a difference for that 15% effect, and you're doing the best you can, not because somebody told you to do it.
If you're looking for more honest and thoughtful conversations about politics instead of nonstop yelling, check out our politics playlist. And if you want to watch full interviews on a variety of topics, watch our full episode playlist, all right over here. And to get notified of all future videos, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell.